Welcome to Good News on Entertainment. I'm Carly Boyette. Buckle up. Tonight we have a pretty wild show as we are diving into rodeos and construction zones. In just a little bit, I'm going to introduce you to a loving father who has been called to make a one-of-a-kind amusement park with construction equipment. This dad has an amazing testimony, a lot of which was just shared on ABC's Shark Tank. More on that in just a little bit. But first tonight, let's head out to the rodeo. Angel Studios has another big film headed to theaters Memorial Day weekend. It's called The Last Rodeo and stars Neil McDonough. This is an adrenaline-packed film about a loving grandfather who was on a mission to help save his grandson by going on one last ride. Before I sit down with Neil and hear more about his testimony and why this film is a particular full circle moment for him and his family after leaving Hollywood several years ago, let's go ahead and take a closer look at The Last Rodeo.
Do you remember everything that you put all of us through the last time you rode? You will not get on that bull.
Well, then what are we gonna do about Cody?
I'm gonna be okay, Mom.
$750,000 for first place. You got a better idea, I'm all ears.
We've got some incredible news. The rodeo legend is going to compete for the first time in years.
Give me the green light.
Joe Wainwright, three-time world champ, rides again.
This is gonna be big.
This ain't the senior circuit.
Good luck, you're gonna need it.
Joe Wainwright competing at over 50 years young.
I'm grandfathered in, right?
Well, you right about that granddad part.
Come on, Joe! Oh, his grandson's sick, and he's got to earn money. That's why he's here. You gotta focus, Joe. You're in my seat. I only ask once. That went well.
Yeah, very. Be patient with her. She loves you fiercely.
Can Joe Wainwright keep up?
I'm fine.
Of course you are.
That's a genuine, true legend right there.
Here we go!
Come on, Joe, get in! Get in! Get in!
Oh, Neil, I'm excited we've talked before, but it's been
Yes, we
brief,
have. Nice
some
to
of
see
the
you
other
again, Carla.
projects. So I'm really excited to dive in. And I've heard you talk about this film in some other interviews, and I can just really tell how passionate and excited you are. This is almost like, I think, a big full circle moment for you. I mean, this is your baby.
Yeah, it's kind of a culmination of everything that's happened in my life so far that I got to write it all in this film. And to produce this with my wife, Reve, it's the first time Neil McDonough has starred in a feature film as the hero. I don't take that lightly, because I wouldn't do kissing scenes. So, the good guy always kisses the girl in the end. I was just never comfortable with it. So I became the villain du jour for the last 20 years, which has been a phenomenal career. But then several years ago, we started making our own films, and now we're about to produce our 11th film, and all of our films give glory to him. And we're not really so-called faith-based films. We make great movies that have a faith backdrop and kind of challenge you or challenge the lead character to their faith. And that's what we do in The Last Rodeo. And I'm so proud of this film. Reve plays my wife in the film, so I finally get to kiss in my first feature film, and it's with my actual wife in real life. So just that alone, Carly, makes me the happiest guy in town. But to do it with John Avnet, my favorite director of all time, Michael T. Williamson and Christopher McDonald, two of my closest friends here in Hollywood, filling out the cast with me, and to have the real life writers from PBR to be part of the film, it was just a magical time for us, and I'm so proud of this movie.
All right, you hit like 10 things I wanted to talk to you about. I guess the first, because
I'm so passionate about it. I keep going.
you do this villain so well, but let me say, you being a professional bull rider, that looks very good on you as well. I'm thinking this is like just a perfect role for you. And then I also, because I did see you work so closely with the National Bull Riding Association. I just wanted to hear more about what that training looked like and making sure. I think it's important that you make it look authentic, right? Like it's got to be believable. And you guys did this in this film.
Yeah, Buddy Joe Hooker was the trainer, the stunt coordinator on the film, so he beat me up, which is great. I also had my personal trainer, Scott St. John, who worked me every morning. 6 a.m. I was up working my butt off. I hated him at first, and then then everyone was like, "Did you use steroids? Did you do HGH? How did you get so ripped?" And I said, "I just worked out really hard every day." And then he introduced me to this product called Flip My Life, which is this protein powder that has super green foods, antioxidants, prebiotics, probiotics, multivitamin, everything that's in there. And all of a sudden my body didn't hurt anymore. The joints started to hurt less and I started getting shredded. This isn't a commercial for Flip My Life. I don't know where but but I wanted to make sure that I looked as much like an authentic, tough as nails bull rider that I could. And I did it. And I'm so proud of how hard I worked on this. It was the hardest I've ever worked on any film. Yes, from writing it to producing it with my wife, to starring in it, to, being the cheerleader every day on set and making sure everything was running well and praying on set with the whole crew daily and getting, knowing that we're putting out the right type of film with the right type of message that's so pro-America, so pro the heartland of America. I'm just so proud of this film because the way I grew up, my parents are both from Ireland. My dad came over with $12 in his pocket, walked straight into an army office and said, "Make me an American." They shipped him overseas for 5 years and he became the proudest American ever. And he instilled those American values into us 6 kids. And so now that, being the villain for so long and creating trust with production companies saying, okay, he can star in his own films now. I haven't taken that lightly. We started with a $350,000 budget with Redstone 4 years ago. Sold that for a profit. Then to the next one, we kept going to $1.5 million, to $2 million, to $3 million, to $8 million now with this film, 8.5 with The Last Rodeo. God's given me this gift of, okay, run with it, run with the ball, give great glory to me, and make great films that talk about family core values.
It does seem the heartland of America, and I think these cowboy movies and shows, I mean, they're having their return of the big moment. And so I don't know how orchestrated that was to have this movie come out, kind of in the middle of all this, but this is what audiences are wanting.
Well, Taylor Sheridan really started it all with all that he's done. I was blessed to be part of Yellowstone and now part of Tulsa King, which is just stupid fun to work with Sylvester Stallone every day. It's just like, it's pretty awesome. But then to do this and, the whole idea for this film came about when I was doing a film called The Warrant Part 2 Breaker's Law that Reve and I were producing with INSP. When I'm on set, I'm so focused on my character. I don't really talk to many people. I'm just so focused. But when I'm off set, when they call wrap for the day, I'm miserable when Reve and the kids are at home and I'm on location. And they're usually with me. But this time they weren't. And I pulled over to the side of the road. I was just, kind of overtaken with emotion how much I missed Reve and the kids. And I was looking out in the field and I saw horses. And then I thought to myself, what would ever happen to me if something happened to Reve? And that was the whole idea of The Last Rodeo. And then God put this idea into my head because I didn't know anything really about bull riding. I didn't know anything. I've been riding horses since I was a kid, but that isn't bull riding. It's very different. And this thought came into my head on the side of the road in Arizona. Write a movie about Rocky on a bull where you have to go back and ride the rodeo one more time to save your grandson's life because he's dying of the same tumor that your wife died of. I'm not that smart. I'm not that clever. So I know that was a gift from him above. And then we wrote the script in a week. And then a week later, it was financed. And 2 years later, it's in the movie theater. And that's record pace. And it's all because of, doing the right thing, trying to give glory to him in everything that we do. And here we are now waiting for this movie to come out next month with all the press and all the goodwill that's coming towards us. It's just very emotional.
Yeah, I can imagine. And you know what I love about you, because I think both on screen and off, you're this big macho guy, but you're not afraid to have this soft side of just being so open about how much you love your family, how much you love your wife. As a mom, my husband and I are celebrating 20 years in May, 20 years of marriage. We have 3 kids. And I just love that you celebrate that, and you're not afraid to do that, which, I mean, I know a lot of men, not all men are like that, but I do think it takes bravery for you to say, and you gave up your career because you said, listen, I only want to kiss my wife. Like, what's wrong with that?
Have you seen my wife? She's a good-looking lady. You know, I
She
mean, it's
is.
just no, I don't know. I think by being called out years ago and being crucified for it and losing everything and having such a problem with alcohol because of that, that she pulled me out of the ashes, you know, and she was the one who said, "Get back to church, get back to your faith or who you once were, because it seems like you've drifted away from that the last couple of years since you got beaten up." And I was beaten up. Carly, I was beaten up, and I never thought I was gonna come out of it again. And to be here now, to watch my kids excel at what they're doing, to get scholarships for sports, to be just good Christian kids, and to watch their mom and dad produce, you know, this is our 10th movie that we produced together. That's crazy, you know, and to be able to do it with my wife and having our kids on set playing, you know, small roles or work in the stunt department or work in craft service or making it really a family environment for the McDonough family. And to be aligned with Angel Studios is just, it's really, you know, it's like I want to pinch myself because I still can't believe it's, it's pretty remarkable where I am right now, sitting here talking to you, Carly, about this movie that I wrote and produced with my wife. It's all because of him, and I don't take that lightly.
So, what is your message for someone who may be fighting a battle or feeling like God is calling them to be obedient in a certain area and they're afraid to?
It's a pretty I'm a simple guy, you know, and I've always been really simple in my approach to kind of everything. And this it's simple. When I forgot about him, when I started making all the problems about me, why me, all this self-pity, when you make it about yourself, you lose everything, and I lost everything. When you make it about, you know, I have one boss now, and that boss is God. So I want to do everything I can to make sure that I'm making my boss happy. In any job, that's what you should do, right? But when you make it a heavenly boss, that's your actual chief of everything, then all of a sudden the choices you make are much more linear. You don't need that shiny toy. You don't need those things. What you need is to spread love. And if you make it family first, me second, God first, me second, not only do you stay out of trouble, but you find a whole lot more love out there instead of hate. You find a lot more happiness instead of arguments. And life isn't perfect. There's no such thing as a perfect life. But if you make him first, you don't worry about the silly smaller things that most people worry about. And me, I try to make everything about him. Whenever I don't make it about him, I trip and fall on my face. But when I make it about him, all of a sudden gifts are given to me. Now I'm an owner of a PBR team, the Austin Gamblers. What the heck are you talking about?
I'm just so excited about what God has done, what he's still going to do. So I'd imagine, is it on to the next? I'd imagine there's got to be other projects in the works, right? Like we're
Oh
not
yeah, yeah.
stopping here.
No, I'm back on Tulsa King right now, and then right after that, we jump into our new Western that I wrote called The Wicked and the Righteous. It's kind of Cain and Abel in the West. So
Oh,
I'm
okay.
so excited about that. But you know, right now I'm just concentrating on The Last Rodeo, and everyone out there who's watching, if you love films like this, if you love films that talk about faith and family and flaws and overcoming hard situations as we all do, then you got to support these types of films. You have to actually go to the theater. You have to buy tickets, sit in the theater. And trust me, you won't regret it. The rodeo sequences alone are just absolutely astounding. But it also talks about a fractured relationship between myself and my daughter. We all have those relationships. If you have anyone who's ever gone through cancer, we talk about that as well. We talk about stumbling through life and finding your faith again. And if you love those types of movies, by supporting films like The Last Rodeo, you're telling Hollywood, we need more films like this. We need to talk about the heartland of America and bring that back into the cinema.
The Last Rodeo is in theaters May 23rd. You can go to angel.com for more info and to find a theater near you. Okay, now from The Last Rodeo to a construction site. Only this construction zone is built for kids and families. That's right. You may have seen the owner and creator of Dig World on Shark Tank recently. Dig World is a first-of-its-kind theme park where kids operate real construction equipment and enjoy thrilling hands-on attractions. The first location was built in Katy, Texas. But now, thanks to ABC's Shark Tank and some new investors, they are franchising all over the United States. But my favorite part of this story is how this idea was really all built on a foundation of faith and a father's love for his son. Congratulations. Let's start
Thank you.
there. Your
Thank you.
episode, people may recognize you and hear about Dig World through Shark Tank, which is such an amazing experience. I think now that you're on the other side of it, I know it's still a lot of work, but
Yes.
let's start there. Congratulations. God is good.
Thank you. Thank you. It is a blessing. My wife and I, we were talking about this last night of never, I think you could have given me a lot of opportunities and a lot of money to try to predict what the Lord had in store, and I would not even come close. So it's been an amazing journey, and super just humbling. I keep saying that over and over again. Like, it's just one of those things that you sit there and you go, I don't know how this happened, and so it's just very humbling.
But talk a little bit, if you can, kind of the backstory and how you got here. And it all really, from my understanding, started with your sweet son.
Yes, yes. So my son is the main driver of frankly, most things I do in my life. And I've got three amazing kids that we talked about on the show. I've got a nine, about to be 10-year-old son. I've got a 5-year-old daughter and almost 2-year-old son. And so we are busy. So if I ever look tired, it's probably because of that, not because of running a theme park. But
I get it.
yes, yes. But my 9-year-old son Pierce, back in 2017. So Pierce was born in 2015. Happy, healthy baby boy. Life progressed just normally, right? I mean, by normal standards, running around, laughing, talking, running, playing baseball, and all the sports in the backyard, just having a great time. And then in February of 2017, on a Saturday morning, my wife found him in his crib unconscious, and we rushed him to the hospital, not thinking that he would make it. The doctors were very vocal that they did not think he was going to make it, but the Lord had different plans, and Pierce was in a coma for 14 days before they were able to pull him out of his coma. And then we were in the hospital 75 days. He had contracted bacterial meningitis, and it left him with permanent disabilities. And so Pierce is now nonverbal. He's epileptic. He's deaf in both ears. He's in a wheelchair and a lower IQ. But I tell people all the time, but he is the happiest, joyful little boy you'll ever meet. He sees the world. I argue all the time. I don't even argue. It's not an argument. He sees the world how Jesus wants us to see the world, right? He does not see skin color. He doesn't see money. He doesn't see fame. He doesn't care what car you drive. He doesn't care how big or small your house is, what clothes you wear. He could care less. He just wants you to be with him and just hang out. And if you do, and you hang out with him and you play his silly, odd games that he loves to play, you got a friend for life. And I think we especially our family, our extended family and friends, we learn more about Jesus. I tell people all the time, Pierce tells more people about Jesus, deaf and nonverbal, than I do out loud with hearing ears. So our life got turned upside down, quite literally overnight, and we came out of the thick of the hospital not really knowing how to even move forward. That we this life that we now were thrust into is not something that we knew anything about, and so we had to learn as we went along. You fast forward a couple of years and just had this burning desire of wanting to create something that brought people together. We learned the importance of family and friends and community during that time. And so we really just wanted to create something that brought people together. And so, we thought, let's build a theme park. Why not? It can't be that hard, right? And man, were we wrong? But we set on the journey in 2019 and opened the doors. COVID delayed everything. There was a lot of different hurdles that we had to fight through that we did not see, envision, could really understand. And then we opened the doors in March of 2022. And so we've been open 3 years now. And see, I've seen thousands and thousands of people walk through these gates and get to love on people and create memories. Our tagline here is we want to create memories that last a lifetime.
Yeah.
And the
But
fact
how
that
did you get into the construction side of
Yeah.
it? Because it's hard to you say theme park and then you see my first thought is, I don't know, the insurance you would have to get, like,
Yeah.
it just
Yes.
seems like
Yes. It's crazy, right? It's one of those things that I mentioned this on the show, but the reality was we would sit down with a lot of investors and I would say, hey, listen, I've got a great idea. I'm gonna build a theme park. And they go, okay, all right, sounds cool. And I'd say, I'm gonna build it in Katy, Texas, where there are tons of families, young families. Okay, awesome. Say, I'm gonna let a 3-year-old drive a skid steer, and they'd go, get out of my office. Right. And so it was very hard for people to catch the vision. We went back and counted. We had over 200 meetings where we pitched people where they said no. before we started to get some of our investors. And so really trying to, at that point, discern, what the Lord's will was. How much do we keep walking here? How many no meetings do we take before we, fold up shop, or do we just keep pressing on? And we just could not let it go. And so how we got here, to answer your question, is Pierce has always loved construction equipment. He's always loved garbage trucks, dump trucks, really thing in that whole space. And so we thought, you know what? Let's let kids operate real construction equipment, right? It's just crazy enough that it might work, and so it's been a great ride.
I would imagine. I mean, do you hear people in that industry that want to jump on board? Because I also feel like, I mean, some of these jobs, aren't the easiest to find people that still want to, like, I
Right.
just think this is a great opportunity to discover and train and maybe have some apprenticeships as well through this. I mean, I think it's a brilliant idea that
Well,
no
thank
one's
you.
doing.
That's right. Part of our we have multiple missions here at the park, and one of those things is we really want to educate the next generation about this industry, right? And really showcase, hey, these are great jobs. These are good paying jobs. With a lot of times they're stable jobs, and you need skilled labor to come in and operate these machines. And so we really have this vision of, man, we think we can flip a switch in a kid's head, and really get them hooked on this space and this industry. So we have a lot of partners that have come along, Caterpillar, Texas A&M, a lot of partners that have come alongside us and said, hey, we love what you're doing, but we really want to go after that kind of that middle school age kid and say, hey, listen, have you ever thought about going into construction, and then showcasing the suite of opportunities that somebody could have in that space?
What is the sweet spot as far as age range for families to go and visit? I want you to address that and then talk about how it's expanding, how this is
Yeah.
eventually going to be hopefully all over the United States.
That's right. We tell people the current age demographic is between the ages of 3 and 99, and so we try to capture everybody. We are the majority of our audience, though, is probably that younger age frame, call it 3 to 9 year old. But really, we see the whole family come, and grandparents checking things off their bucket list, and parents and people coming in from all around the country to operate these machines. And so we really see the whole family. But if we had to boil it down, we are a kids theme park. We are geared towards the younger demographic for sure. We have corporate events where we re-engineered a lot of the machines and the games, the activities, to make them more adult competition, and so we love those evenings as well. But now where we're at, we're here in Katy, Texas, right outside Houston, and now we went on the show to broadcast our franchising opportunities, and so we're soon making the march across the country, and we're going to be bringing Dig Worlds all across the country. We've sold 5 locations so far, a couple in Texas, and then a few on the East Coast, and one on the West Coast. And so we are super excited to see what the Lord has in store. It really is one of those things. Again, I told my wife last night, every opportunity that I think is a good one, the Lord pivots it, and it becomes 10x better. So I'm just going to keep my head down and just keep doing whatever He asks of me, and it works out much better that way.
What has, just going off of that a little bit more, what do you think God has taught your family over the last couple of years? And I can imagine not all days are easy. Not all
No.
days are you're saying, yeah, this is great and we understand. Like, I know there had to have been hard days as well. But what do you want to encourage other families that may be going, I know there's a lot of them that are trying
Yeah.
to figure, their lives get turned upside down and you think that's all you're going to be able to handle.
Yep.
And you guys have just shown that, what, God can work through anything and
Yeah.
surpass your wildest dreams.
Yeah. I think the hard days are real, right? I don't ever want anybody to ever listen to my story and go, man, that guy's living in la la land. No, the hard days are real. We have the stressful days, we have the scary days, we have what are we going to do in 30 years, kind of days. And so Pierce is going to be living with me, or somebody, for the rest of his life. And so it's very easy for my wife and I to go down these paths of, well, what's going to happen when he's 35? What's going to happen when he's 45? And then, you have to go back to scripture and say, hey, listen, we're not supposed to worry about tomorrow. And how hard that is as a parent, right? I mean, it's hard as a human, right? I mean, we're wired where we want to dream and think and plan, and a lot of it is driven from fear, right? A lot of it is the enemy, creating this angst and nervousness in us. And a lot of it is wanting to be a good parent, right? But I what we've learned more than anything is and it can come across as cliche, but if I think Melissa and I, my wife and I, love Pierce, we can't even it pales in comparison to how much Jesus can take care of him. Is this the story that I would have written? No, No. Is this how I would have predicted my wife and I's life would have gone when we got married 13 years ago? No, not at all. But can I see what God's doing through it? Yeah, I can. Again, does that change that it's hard? Does it change that this is not what we wanted? Sure. But listen, Jesus himself asked, right before this, we're talking here on Easter weekend, right? Jesus asked his father, "Hey, could we change the game plan a little bit? What it's about to do is taking on the sin of the world. It's gonna be pretty bad." And so I feel okay going to him and say, "Hey, listen, can we change the plan?" But I don't understand this plan. And so my encouragement to parents out there or individuals that are going through something, you don't need to understand it, right? If we believe what we believe, that the author and creator of the universe and art and everything that goes on, I promise you, he's writing a story that he needs you to be a part of, no matter how much it hurts, no matter how much pain we have to go through, because the joy of knowing him, the joy of giving to spend eternity with him is far greater than any temporary pain, right? Now, again, doesn't take away the pain, doesn't take away the suffering, but I promise you there will be a day of great joy where I'm going to get to run around heaven. I get choked up. I get to run around heaven with Pierce, and we're going to get to talk, and he's going to go, "Hey, you used to annoy the heck out of me and I couldn't say anything back to you, and so or all those nights I didn't want to eat the food and you and mom kept trying. It was because that food was terrible, right? Or whatever it may be." And so I look forward to that day.
Oh, well, how can people? I'm excited that I think just the expansion of all of this is going to give you more opportunities and a platform to share your story, share your testimony a little bit more. But how can families kind of help and kind of get involved and keep up with what you're doing here? Is there
Yeah.
anything in particular that you need, from
Yeah,
us as
great
this
question.
continues to grow right now?
Yeah, thank you. Well, if you're near the Katy one, please come. We'd love to have you. I'd love to meet you. A lot of times you can find me at the front gate. That's where I like to live and talk to everybody that comes through. So please come visit us. We're approaching the summer. We're gonna have more extended hours. So please come and see us throughout the summer. If you're nowhere near us, go to our website, digworldnation.com, and you can fill out. There's a section where we say, "Bring us to your city." And what that allows us to do is start to create a list of people in those markets that we're coming to next. And so we can keep you informed of when we're coming to your neighborhood. And so both of those ways, we'd love to see you at the park, and then we'd love to see you at our future parks.
And something else really exciting to share is that the idea and success of Dig World has also caught the attention of Dude Perfect, one of the biggest family-friendly media brands in the world with over 60 million YouTube subscribers. And now Dig World and Dude Perfect are partnering to bring the construction experience to new locations nationwide, complete with Dude Perfect themed attractions as part of the Dig World expansion. Of course, to find more info and stay up to date on everything they have going on, just head to digworldnation.com. Well, I hope you enjoyed tonight's show. I'm Carly Boyette. By the way, if you're looking for any more info on anything you saw on Good News on Entertainment or anything you may have seen on CTN, just head to our website, ctnonline.com. Have a great night. I look forward to seeing you next week right here on your Christian Television Network.